Abdul El-Sayed, after winning the Michigan primary, is now getting backlash from both sides of the aisle. He's getting backlash from the left and he's getting backlash from the right. Let's first start with the backlash that he is receiving from the left. It all comes after this endorsement here from, what happens if I mute this? I guess not. It all comes from this endorsement here from Kamala Harris. So this is what he said. Vice President Kamala Harris understands the key role control of the U.S. Senate plays in lowering prices for Michiganders and holding Trump accountable. To achieve a Senate majority in 2026, we need to win Michigan, and that means beating Mike Rogers. Trump and his allies prey on our divisions, which is why it is so important to bring communities together right now. Her support in this race is critical to building an unstoppable coalition against Rogers, Trump, and their assault on the rights and democracy. Just like I stood with her in her effort to defeat Trump, I'm so humbled and grateful for her support in this race to defeat his minion, Mike Rogers. So this endorsement sparked a firestorm on X. This is the left criticism towards El-Sayed. A lot of people are not happy about this. And I'm just going to show you some of the comments, and then I'm going to give you my perspective about it. Where was the one from Professor Zinkus? Professor Zinkus said, dude, like WTF. He's showing this example here. Kamala Harris doesn't support arms embargo on Israel, a top advisor says. He's one of the ones. Here's another one, Ali Abanima from Electronic Intifada. Genocide heirs out of politics. Oz the Boomer. Why do you insist on losing voters? We don't need this pandering to the Democratic hierarchy because they are a goddamn failure. We need revolutionaries, and you had a long time to rise to that level. I'll get to this video here in just a second. Blakely also, Dr. Ware says, so all that stuff about hating AIPAC influence was just hot air, showing all the money that she received from AIPAC. There were a number of people here, I don't know if we'll find him now, but a number of people that also said they donated to him and they're not going to donate anymore. And so let's get to this part, and I'm going to tell you my take on this. Sarah said, let's not forget who Kamala Harris is. Listen to this part here.
Refugee camps, do you think that that is a legitimate military target?
We are not telling Israel how it should conduct this war. Let me be very clear. I'm unequivocal, unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense, and that's not going to change. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. The aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself, including from Iran.
I gotta mute that because that's a song, but they're showing, of course, a lot of the disaster that happened here. And they're just reminding you of what Kamala Harris said. Remember, she said she was focused on Iran, all of these things. We must stand with Israel. Our defense relationship is critical. So they're just reminding people of all the things that Kamala Harris said and why they are not happy with El-Sayed accepting this endorsement. And so to that, I say this. Many are wondering, they're like, why is he doing this? Why is he accepting that endorsement? I'm going to talk about both sides of this. For me, those are just some of the things that Kamala Harris said. But my question is, has Kamala Harris apologized? Has anybody seen Kamala Harris apologize for the things that she said about the Palestinian people, for refusing to withhold weapons from Israel? Did Kamala Harris apologize for telling the protesters that she was speaking? Did she apologize for refusing to allow the Palestinian uncommitted or the Arab American uncommitted activists to have representation at the DNC? while they were begging her to please allow one of them to speak. Did she ever apologize for that? Kamala Harris has not apologized for anything. She's not apologized. She went on and did this whole book tour across the country, talking about what needs to happen and what needs to be done. I noticed she's been switching up her rhetoric recently and saying we have to start talking about things that are uncomfortable. That's the new thing she's talking about now. I noticed that, but that was what we were telling her in 2024. She didn't want to have those uncomfortable conversations. So ideally, what this is about is that Kamala Harris is most likely going to run for president again in 2028. And I think that's part of the reason why she endorsed him. I really do. I don't think she just did it out of the goodness of her heart because she really wants to defeat the Republican Mike Rogers. I think this is a benefit for her. She knows, oh, I go and I endorse him, then maybe that'll help me get that support that I did not get in Michigan in 2024 because the uncommitted voters chose not to vote for me. Maybe that'll help me. Like I scratch his back, he scratches my back, right? And then there's the other side of it, which I'm going to show you what Wally said here. The other side of it, which is that he's trying to get those voters that he did not get in the primary, which are the voters that Haley Stevens got. So if we look at this here, Michigan Democratic Senate primary, Arab versus non-Arab voters, as you can see, Haley Stevens, she received the most non-Arab voters, but he received the most Arab American voters. Ultimately, that leads to the black vote. And one of the things I want to show you here, let me put this up. What it reveals about black voters and the Democrats in this particular race. So there was a generational divide here with black voters for El Sayed, which, you know, some of us had predicted would happen. It says here, I think that the older and more established black voters believe in incremental change. And when you start and talk to younger black voters, they want to see a whole new system. I think El Sayed has kind of tapped into that energy. What this article goes on to discuss is that most of the support that he received from black Michiganders for that primary race were from younger black people. It goes on to say here, there's a generational divide throughout the campaign. Haley Stevens, she received more of the votes from older black Michiganders. And it says here that the younger and more progressive black Michiganders were fueled by El Sayed calls for deep reforms. So there is a generational divide there. Like when people say it's just all about the black vote, people do have to understand we do have that generational divide. So essentially, he would have to get those older black voters that voted for Haley Stevens that he wasn't able to get this time around, which is probably why he accepted Kamala Harris's endorsement. Now, what people got to remember is everybody don't think like me and you, and everybody ain't watching me or some of the other, you know, political YouTube people. The reality is when I speak to older black voters, they support Kamala Harris. Not all of them, but even if you go back and you look at the polling day, the data, the exit polls from when Kamala ran in 2024, a lot of the older black voters supported Kamala Harris. So this, it seems like to me, what he's trying to tap into. He's trying to get those people that supported Haley, and he's going to need them in order to beat Mike Rogers. Okay, get it, got it. But here's the thing. I personally, if Kamala Harris, now I wouldn't be running, but if I was running for president and Kamala Harris came to me and I was in that position and she said, I'm offering my endorsement to you, I would say to Kamala Harris, the people need an apology. The people need a public apology. The people, all the people, not just the Arab Americans, but all the people need an apology. Black people need an apology. Arab Americans need an apology. The people need an apology for you because you chose to dismiss the demands when you were running for office. That would be my thing. And to me, it just seemed like to accept that without asking for any type of apology. Kamala Harris didn't even go to Dearborn when she was running for office. Did you guys know that? She wouldn't even speak to the people there. It's a swing state. She needed that state and she avoided them. And that allowed Donald Trump to walk right in there and pick up some of those voters. And that's how he was able to win Michigan. So to me, it seems like, I don't know. And people are like, well, you can't get mad at him for getting the endorsement, but he doesn't have to say, I'm humbled by this. I don't, it just, to me, an apology is owed. That's how I feel about it. Now, Wally, who also talked about this, Wally, who is Palestinian American, he came onto the show. Awesome guy. I want you to hear what he said about this and how it impacts him and his family.
The West Bank Violence Prevention Act is my number one. Like, if there's any piece of legislation that I have been obsessed with wanting to pass, it is sanctions against extremist settlers. Like, my family is there. You guys see, like, whenever they get terrorized by settlers or something happens, I make a video about it. So I actually have people that are there that I love and that could die. And when I think about that, I'm not, I really like to take anything that I can do to help them, I'm going to take. And I'm not going to, I care more about helping them than I care about, like, I care more about helping them in a realistic way. So if there's anything I could do to advance legislation, I'm willing to do it. When it comes to advancing legislation that can help them, if I can get the West Bank Violence Prevention Act to pass, I will do that. And I don't care, I don't care who I need in order to build my coalition and to do that. I'll advance it. That's important to me. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, then I'm not going to be able to get that to pass. I think it's just kind of one of those things where you just have to understand, okay, this is kind of what there are certain things you have to do to build a coalition and to build broad support. Now, I understand if people don't agree with that, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be so ideological that I forget reality on the ground. Especially, I'm not going to be so ideological if I have people's lives are on the line that I care about. I'm not going to spend too much time being ideological when I know that I can either be ideological or I can try to help my family that's about to get killed. Like, there's, you kind of have to weigh them out, both out.
So that is what Wally said there, who does have family members that are in the West Bank and are at risk there. And so for his thing is he's willing, and he said this when he came onto the show, that he's willing to work with anyone that will implement those sanctions on those settlers in the West Bank so that his family can live. Right. So he said that, he made that very clear. He's willing to work with anyone that is able to make that happen. And so I think that, people have different takes on this. But to me, I just kind of feel like, dude, why did Kamala Harris has not even apologized? That's how I see it. So you got people on the left who are pissed. But now let's get to the people on the right who are pissed, and they're already pulling out all the stops to try to stop him. One of these things is AIPAC. After Michigan lost, AIPAC weighs a second effort to defeat El Sayed. Does everybody see this? They are willing to spend $32 million, or they spent $32 million to try to stop him. But now they're saying they're willing to spend even more money to try to stop El Sayed from winning the general election. So I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody right now, you better get ready, because what's going to happen, the money that we saw them spend against Thomas Massie, that is going to be nothing compared to what they put into this race. This is a Senate seat. That's a 6-year term. So they're going to put all these ads, and I'm going to show you some of them. They're going to put as much out there as possible to try to stop that from happening. So everyone get ready. Is another reason why we need big money out of electoral politics. Here is one of them. So he is running against Mike Rogers. Here is one of the ads that Mike Rogers is sharing. This is so disgusting. Watch this.
My whole name is Abdurrahman Muhammad
Don't want this? Vote Mike Rogers for U.S. Senate on November 3rd.
So Mike Rogers is calling him a terrorist. That's what that was. And that's just one of them. And they're going to drive that home. They're going to say he's a terrorist. They're going to say he's a communist. He's not even a socialist, which he's made very clear. Here is Mike Rogers and his wife. Listen to this.
If you're among the majority of Democratic voters that woke up on Wednesday feeling, well, hopeless, because the person who won does not represent your values, well, just know there is still hope. Michigan deserves a senator who is ready to sit with you, hear from you, and represent you. The parents across Michigan who want an education system that sets up their kids for success. You have a home with us. To grandparents across Michigan who are heartbroken from watching their kids and grandkids leave the state. You have a home with us. To young people who are looking for real solutions to solve our housing affordability crisis. You have a home with us. To working families who don't want higher taxes and lower paychecks, well, you have a home with us. And to the vast majority of people across Michigan who do not want to throw their support behind a campaign filled with anger, divisiveness, calls for violence, and the views that are out of touch with your values, well, you have a home with us.
It's interesting he said calls for violence, but he's the one that has the ads, with the violence that's in the ads.
The fight is far greater than just left versus right. The fight is for the very soul of our nation. Over the next 90 days, I'm going to work hard to earn your trust, to earn your support, and earn your vote. We have a state to save, Michigan. Let's get to work.
So I'm going to go ahead and warn everybody now that there is already an X account, a Twitter account called Democrats for Mike Rogers. I'm pretty sure that his campaign team created that. I don't believe that bullshit. I don't believe these Democrats are rushing to go vote for Mike Rogers. But I'm just telling you guys, they're already starting to spin it in such a way that, look, the Democrats are going to come out and vote for Mike Rogers. Obviously, I don't believe that to be the case, but that's the case that he's trying to make there. Now, they did hit back at Mike Rogers with this ad. I thought this one was kind of funny. That was funny. That was a pretty good one. But yeah, he's another neocon, another warmonger. Of course, Donald Trump does support him. Eric, we can go to part 2 there of Type VNC. And there is a humming sound with Type VNC. I don't know why. But let me show you something about this guy, okay? Let me show you something about this guy. Mike Rogers, check this out, okay? This guy was a Fed. Okay? Are you guys ready for this? Mike Rogers was a Fed. So that's actually who this guy is. Look at this. Rogers, from 1989 to 1994, he worked as a special agent with the FBI in Chicago. And we know Chicago, there's a lot of corruption going on there, especially during this time, 1989 to 1994. This guy is a Fed. He is a member of the Society of Former Special Agents of the FBI. That's who he is. A warmonger Fed. Now, he's run for office before as well in Michigan, so he has some experience running for office as well. But they're going to throw everything that they can at him. Again, they've been trying to make fun of his name. So El Sayed did respond here.
Now, Mike, I'm just going to remind you, if you don't know how to say the name, keep the name out your damn mouth. Or just call me Abdul. But I got some opinions about his name. See, it's very fitting for him, Rogers. Because that's his answer every time a corporation or Donald Trump tells him to do something. Mike, we need you to put a data center in the backyard. Roger. Mike, we need you to hike their prescription drug prices. Roger. Mike, we need you to rubber stamp this war we shouldn't be fighting. Roger. Mike, and this one's Donald Trump. I need you to lick these boots. Roger. And I think I speak for all of us here in Michigan when I say that we are done with Rogers. Go back to Florida where you belong.
So he has jokes. He has he has some jokes. It's funny. Like him and Thomas Massey, they're both kind of funny. Another attack that is coming from Kid Rock. Again, these are some of the attacks that he's getting from the right. Kid Rock, who's also another actor. This guy had been so many different things. Kid Rock at one point said he was, yo, 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 like down, like with the black community and hibbity, hibbity, hop, hop, hop. And then he became like this country music. I'm actually country. His father came out against his own father came out against him and said that his son was a poser. He said he ain't from the trailer park. He from the suburbs. I remember that. His dad told on Kid Rock. Kid Rock was like, I ain't straight out of Compton. I'm straight out the trailer. And his dad busted him live on TV and said he grew up in suburbia. He is not from the trailer park. So he done been so many different things. So listen to what he says here.
And Mackinac is one of the most beautiful places in America. And don't take my word for it. Ask the millions of people who have visited. I just recently had some friends up here at my lake home in Charlevoix, Michigan, from South Alabama, from Birmingham, Alabama, but have a lake house in Alabama. Knew nothing about northern Michigan. So one of the first things I do is take them over to Mackinac Island. There's no cars there. You get a buggy pulled by horses. You tour the island and the old Fort Mackinac. There you see the beautiful landscape and homes overlooking Lake Michigan and the Mackinac Bridge. And then my favorite thing to do, one of my favorite things on earth, is to end up at the Grand Hotel, which is one of the largest front porches in the world, if not the largest in America, lined with American flags. And you're sitting there having a whiskey drink before you go to dinner. And it's God's country. Every little town up here in North Michigan is like a Norman Rockwell painting come to life.
And so this was shared, of course, by Mike Rogers. He said, Mackinac is God's country. Abdul hates it, though. I guess he prefers his luxury property in Dubai instead. And so El Sayed clapped back here and he said, both of these multimillionaires can afford a weekend in Mackinac Island. How about you and your family? So that was a pretty good comeback. The fact that this is not a place that just anybody can go to hang out at or to visit. Now, Donald Trump is also, of course, attacking him and his wife. Let's go ahead and get into this one here.
Speaking of President Trump, last night he posted on social media a photograph of him and First Lady Melania Trump in formal attire. Next to a photograph of you and your wife, you appear to be in a restaurant booth or something. Your wife is a psychiatrist. She's wearing a hijab. The caption was two very different Americas. What was your response when you saw that?
Yeah, he's right. One in which your overlords are two people who don't like each other but joint in the interest of making billions of dollars off of you, or two people who genuinely love each other, enjoyed some pancakes together, want to come together to build the kind of America where they can raise a family and know that that family is going to have the good things. So yes, you've got two different visions of America. Donald Trump's vision is the one you're living in right now. Can you afford your gas? Can you afford your groceries? Do you believe when you look your kids in the eye that they're going to have a better future than you did? And Sarah and I are running because when we look our daughters in the eye, Emily and Sirine, we want them to believe that they're every bit as able to have a better future than the one that they could have had under the Trump administration, that they can live together with their sisters and their brothers in America in a way where they lock arms to build the good things that they deserve together, where they know they'll have the health care that they need and good jobs, and that they don't have to go 15 minutes and know that there are kids who live 15 minutes away whose lives are very, very different than theirs because we've been for far too long okay with a level of inequality in this country. I want them to live in an America where they can breathe clean air and drink clean water. And actually, Sarah and I like each other. I don't know about the First Lady and the President, but from what I've heard, it's a bit of a rocky road.
Speaking of President Trump.
I think that's a good thing to do there, which is to kick it back to the issues that matter. Like when people come with those personal attacks against you or, you know, your wife, to bring it back to the issues that matter, because that really is a diversion tactic. They're just trying to get people to focus on other things so that they're not focusing on the economy. And of course, all of these wars. So bringing it back to those issues is very important. And then also, I guess Donald Trump told him that he was full of shit. And I want you to see the response here.
Abdul, Donald Trump seems to think you're a gift to the Republican Party. What do you say to that?
I'm a gift to the state of Michigan, God willing, and hope to win this election.
And he says, if you pardon the language, you're full of What do you say to that?
At least I don't let mine go in the middle of the Oval Office.
Abdul.
Oh, so people heard this and I thought to myself, you know, did this happen? Did Donald Trump, like, you know, take number 2 in the Oval Office? Is it true that he's actually wearing a diaper? I've heard those rumors before, but that was kind of funny. Like, that was a good comeback there. So again, like, he's actually pretty good at this, which is also kind of scary as well. He goes on to say a couple more things at the event that he had this past weekend. I want you guys to hear.
We fight for the families barely able to put their groceries in the cart and check out. We fight for the mom who's worried about the child care she needs to be able to work a job that barely pays enough. We fight for the folks who are afraid about what happens if they get sick. We fight for each other. We fight for the.
So that's one of them there. Again, just honing in on those economic issues, which I think is incredibly important, given the economy right now. Another thing that he touched on was corruption, political corruption.
You should not be able to spend tens of millions of dollars selecting a candidate or picking a politician using corporate funds. That should be illegal in the United States. And when I get to the U.S. Senate, I'm going to work with my colleagues, folks like Liz Warren, folks like Bernie Sanders, folks like Alyssa Slotkin, to end the corporate corruption of our politics, end the system of super PACs, end the system of 501c4s, and all of it. And we're going to put money in pockets. We're going to stand with our union sisters and brothers and pass the PRO Act. We're going to tax billionaires their wealth. Because you know what? You tax a billionaire at 8%, you know what they still are? Still a billionaire. Kids are going to be rich. You're going to be okay. Maybe you can pay your fair share so our kids get good schools and functional infrastructure and some health care.
Yeah, I heard about that, Anna, that he supports reparations. I heard about that. Listen, here's my thing on this one, because I want to bring up this other one as well. Apparently, Barack Obama has already reached out to him. I guess to, so look for an endorsement probably to come from Obama at some point soon. So I think it's a number of things that are happening here. I think he is excited for that endorsement and accepted that endorsement because the reality is, in order for him to win, he is going to have to get those voters that voted for Haley Stevens instead of him in order to beat Mike Rogers. That being said, though, if it were me, I would have said to Kamala, you got to apologize to the people. You got to apologize to the people, and that needs to happen. You need to come sit down with the people in the community in Dearborn, and you need to issue an apology to the people. A lot of people are very hurt. People have lost, like I know Rashida Tlaib has talked about this. People have lost family members. Justin Amash, who's a former Congress member, said he's lost several family members. Like, you cannot expect the people to just forget about what was said. You cannot expect the people to forget that you said you wouldn't do anything different than Joe Biden, and that you wouldn't withhold the arms, and that you shunned Palestinians who wanted to speak at the convention. You can't expect people to forget that. And I don't know what Kamala plans on doing, I guess, strategy-wise from here. But I hope she realizes that we have not forgotten. Hell, it was just like yesterday, It's not like this was 10 years ago. That was just like yesterday. But things are already starting to change, because I noticed this. This account here said, as a former MAGA guy, I can confirm this is real. I voted for Trump in 2020 and 2024. I just voted for Syed in the primary the other day. I am one of the non-college Gen Z voters. So I did want you guys to see that, that some people are saying that they flipped. And when he was asked why, he said conflict in the Middle East, AIPAC, people like Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones were basically kicked out of the Republican Party. Joe Kent, Owen Schroyer, and I left voluntarily. There are other things, but these are the easiest to explain. So there is some change that is happening there, ladies and gents. Again, like I said, you know, the economy and the wars, these things that Donald Trump ran on, some people are really just not too happy with. But that person there said that they actually voted for El Sayed in the primary. So that's really interesting. So again, I think, like I said, right now, people on the left and people on the right are mad at him. And I think, you know, it's interesting, like, what happens if he does get that support from older Black voters that went to Haley Stevens, but then in turn, because of the endorsement, and he's saying he appreciates this from Kamala Harris, he ends up losing some of that support from the Arab American community in Dearborn. Not to say that will happen, I don't know, but that would be interesting to see if that happened, you know. But yeah, stay tuned, guys. This is going to be that Michigan general election race for that Senate seat. There's going to be a lot of money poured into that race, so pay attention. Hey guys, this was a Sabby video. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.